cannot be denied that Homo sapiens have been specifically engineered to serve the agenda of someone or something beyond the scope of their senses that secretly rules their lives. How do the Gnostic texts describe these invaders? Referred to as Archons, they come in two distinct types: an aggressive reptilian humanoid and smaller passive creatures resembling a prematurely formed fetus. An intrusion upon Earth humanity by malevolent, parasitic invaders who use Earth humans as puppets in a vast, centuries-old game of deception and domination. The Nag Hammadi material contains reports of visionary experiences of the initiates. Over time, an aggressive, masculine reptilian leader, not unlike the biblical Satan, emerged. Arrogant by nature, this demiurge deems himself to be at the center of creation, lord of all he beholds. Gnostic texts state plainly that demiurge is insane, a demented god, or impostor deity, and he works against humanity. Gnostics warned that we coexist with a demented entity who access our world through our minds. The demiurge of the Old Testament is an arrogant pretender who claims that humans are made in his image. These four words are the corporate motto of patriarchy. Branded on the human soul, made in his image signifies the total enslavement of humanity to an alien, off-planet agenda. Gnostics taught that these entities envy us and feed on our fear. Above all, they attempt to keep us from claiming and evolving our inner light, the gift of divine intelligence within. Archons are an alien force that intrudes subliminally upon the human mind and deviates our intelligence away from its proper and sane applications. They make us play out our inhumane behavior to weird and violent extremes. Archons are psycho-spiritual parasites. Gnostics detected the humanized face of the Archons in all authoritarian structures and systems that deny authenticity and self-determination to the individual. According to Gnostic perception, Jesus, if mortal at all, had been a prophet of Amor, the principle of love, and Amor, when inverted or perverted into power, became Roma, Rome, whose opulent, luxurious church seemed to the Gnostics a palpable embodiment and manifestation on earth of Rex Mundi's sovereignty, Rex Mundi being the Archon Lord of the material world. As such, Gnostics came to regard the Christian cross as the emblem of Rex Mundi, an icon of domination and control. Threatened by the growing popularity of these Gnostic ideas, Pope Innocent III launched a holy war in 1209 to eradicate such poisonous heresies. Whole populations were put to the sword in southern France in the Albigensian Crusade, which lasted for decades. This deadly campaign also spawned the murderous Inquisition, designed to ruthlessly exterminate any and all beliefs that challenged papal authority. This crusade was so successful that suppression of these Gnostic teachings has lasted until modern times, certainly a suspicious indication of Archon manipulation. The roots of Gnosticism reach far back to the mystery schools of ancient Egypt, yet halfway around the world this same awareness of the Archons could be traced to the mystic seers of ancient Mexico as well. Consider these insights shared by Yaqui Indian shaman Juan Matus from Carlos Castaneda's book, The Active Side of Infinity. We have a predator that came from the depths of the cosmos and took over the rule of our lives. Human beings are its prisoners. The predator is our lord and master. It has rendered us docile, helpless. If we want to protest, it suppresses our protest. If we want to act independently, it demands that we don't do so. Indeed, we are held prisoner. They took us over because we are food to them, and they squeeze us mercilessly because we are their sustenance. Sorcerers believe the predators have given us our systems of beliefs, our ideas of good and evil, our social mores. They are the ones who set up our dreams of success or failure. They have given us covetousness, greed, and cowardice. In order to keep us obedient, meek, and weak, the predators engaged a stupendous maneuver. Stupendous, of course, from the point of view of a fighting strategist. A horrendous maneuver from the point of view of those who suffer it. They gave us their mind. The predator's mind is baroque, contradictory, morose, filled with fear of being discovered any minute now. Sorcerers of ancient Mexico reasoned that man must have been a complete being at one point, with stupendous insights, feats of awareness that are mythological legends nowadays. And then everything seems to disappear, and we have now a sedated man. What I am saying is that what we have against us is not a simple predator. It is very smart and organized. It follows a methodical system to render us useless. Man, the magical being that he is destined to be, is no longer magical. He's an average piece of meat. Is it conceivable that humans could naturally evolve into a malignant species toxic to their own fragile environment, unable to coexist in harmony with the myriad complexities of this planet's ecosystems? If you were a highly advanced culture about to invade a relatively primitive culture, you would begin by creating intense confusion, with only inferences of your presence, which cause controversial disagreement. You would make yourself known to various elite in-groups, who would offer you protection out of greed, expecting to acquire more perfect knowledge than anyone else on the planet of this ultimate secret to end all secrets. They would covet you. You would go to the most secret and powerful organizations within the society. In the case of the United States, you would infiltrate the CIA, and through the use of techniques unknown to them, you would take over some of their key people in their innermost core group. You would occasionally let your ships be seen by some of the ordinary citizens, so that the elite government groups would become involved in attempts to keep them quiet. There would be constant arguments between the authorities and the public, thereby setting the population and the government at each other's throats. By subtly causing economic turmoil, you would set the haves and the have-nots at each other's throats. In all possible ways you would plant the seeds of massive discontent. After you had manipulated the population to the point where your covert control over it was complete, humanity is not about to be invaded. Humanity is not in the middle of an invasion. Humanity has been invaded, and the invasion is nearly in its final stages. Great invasions do not happen with thundering smoke and nuclear weaponry. That is a mark of an immature society. Great invasions happen in secrecy. What I want to get across to you is the ultimate evil, which underlies all the negativity in the cosmos, finds expression in that masked form of psychological complacency that leads an individual to adhere to a group philosophy rather than to think things through for oneself. Those who feel safe and comfortable in no matter what belief system, merely because many others adhere to it, who get together and form an arrogant, self-righteous group convinced it has a monopoly on the truth, and who are ready to persecute, kill, or stifle anyone who challenges that group's philosophy, have formed an alliance with the ultimate evil, whether they know it or not. It is the self-righteousness and implacability of certain elite power groups, like the CIA or the KGB, and certain organized religions, which are so objectionable. As soon as you become involved in a belief system that you are a chosen special group who are lords over the common folk because of your secret knowledge, you are on your way to a fall. That type of attitude plants the seeds of destruction in any society or culture, leaving it vulnerable to overthrow by those oppressed within its boundaries, as well as by outside forces. All cultures who have elite power groups at odds with each other, and with the population at large, sooner or later collapse from either internal or external pressures. The only chance of retaining your freedom is for the awareness of this principle to penetrate the consciousness of humanity. It is a pearl of wisdom treasured by those who have attained the ability to travel through time and other life cycles. The first step to liberation from this alien control is to unmask the deception. Gnostics fully understood this truth 3,600 years ago. The stupendous success of this alien invasion has been its ability to function in absolute secrecy and seduce the human mind with artificial systems of beliefs, to convince us that we live our lives at the mercy of circumstances and events that exist outside of ourselves. For centuries, this belief, like an insidious mantra, has been drilled relentlessly into our psyches from the cradle to the grave. We have been duped into seeing ourselves as victims, and so we become victims. The Gnostics remind us that the world we see today does not show the face of true human, but rather the insane, homicidal face of the manipulating Archon madness that distorts it. Perhaps humanity now confronts its ultimate destiny, to awaken from this artificially induced nightmare and reclaim the divine power within that has always been our true cosmic birthright. Humanity now has the opportunity to rid itself of these other-dimensional extraterrestrial parasites. An ever-increasingly widespread realization of the true nature of this predatory game is what will bring about liberation.